Hey everyone. So, if you're an entrepreneur in India, you've probably hit a wall with a really big decision right at the beginning. How do you actually structure your business? It's a choice that shapes everything, from your personal risk all the way to how you run things day to day. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful option that might just be the perfect answer you've been looking for.
Right. So here's the classic dilemma every founder faces. Do you go for a partnership? The flexible, easy to manage option, or do you choose a company, which gives you that rock-solid legal protection? Historically, each of these paths came with some pretty major downsides.
Okay, let's really get into this. On one hand, a partnership is super simple, it's flexible, but it has this huge risk called unlimited liability. And what that means is your personal assets, your house, your car, could be on the line if the business gets into trouble. Then you have the company. It protects your personal stuff, for sure, but it brings this heavy weight of high compliance costs and really strict rules. It's like you're forced to pick between being safe and being simple.
But what if I told you that you don't actually have to make that choice? What if there's a structure out there that was literally designed to give you the flexibility you want and all the protection you absolutely need? Well, that's exactly where the Limited Liability Partnership, or LLP, steps in. You can think of it as this brilliant hybrid model, specifically engineered to give you the best of both worlds and solve that fundamental dilemma for good.
So, let's dig into the details, shall we? The first, and honestly the biggest advantage, is how an LLP gives you that powerful legal protection, but without all the usual corporate headaches.
It really comes down to two key ideas. First up is limited liability. This is huge. It means your financial risk is capped at whatever amount you've invested in the business. Your personal car, your home, they're off limits, they're safe. Second, an LLP is a separate legal entity. That means in the eyes of the law, the business is its own person, totally separate from you.
So what does that actually mean for you day to day? Well, it means the LLP itself can buy and own property, it can sign contracts, and it can even sue or be sued. This legal separation doesn't just protect you, it gives your business a layer of professional credibility that, believe me, clients and investors really notice.
Okay, protection is crucial. We get that. But what about actually running the business? Next up, let's talk about how an LLP is also built for flexibility and for the long haul.
And this is where you really start to feel the freedom. See, while a company is kind of stuck with a rigid board structure and formal meetings, an LLP is run based on its own flexible agreement. You and your partners decide the roles, you decide the responsibilities, you get to run the business your way.
And get this, it's also built to last. An LLP has something called perpetual succession. It's a fancy term, but all it means is that the business keeps on going, even if a partner leaves, retires, or passes away. The LLP continues to exist, which gives you incredible stability for long-term planning. All right, let's be honest, every business decision really comes down to the numbers, right? So let's talk about why the LLP is so often the smart money choice, especially when we're talking about compliance and taxes.
Now this is a game changer. Unlike a private limited company, an LLP doesn't always need to have a mandatory audit. So how do you get that exemption? Well, it all comes down to staying under two very specific financial limits.
First, your annual turnover has to be less than 40 lakh rupees.
And this is the important part. Your total capital contribution from all the partners has to be under 25 lakh rupees. As long as you meet both of those conditions, you get to skip the cost and the serious hassle of a mandatory annual audit.
I mean, when you see it side by side, the difference is just crystal clear. With audits that are only conditional and way fewer filings, the LLP is simply a leaner, more cost-effective machine to run. And that means more of your money and time go where they should, into growing the business, not just drowning in paperwork.
And the good news on the financial front doesn't stop there. When it comes to taxes, profits are taxed at a flat 30%, okay? But there's no dividend distribution tax, or DDT. And crucially, the share of the profits that you take home as a partner is exempt from any more tax. It's a really, really efficient way to handle your earnings.
So after hearing about all of these benefits, you're probably wondering, okay, but is it for me? Let's break down who the ideal candidate for an LLP really is.
So, does any of this sound like you? The LLP is just a fantastic fit for professionals. Think CAs, lawyers, consultants. It's also perfect for small and medium businesses, for startups that want a structure that's simple but can also scale, and of course for family businesses that need that mix of flexibility and a solid legal framework.
If you take away just one thing today, let it be this. An LLP gives you the credibility of a company, but with the operational ease of a partnership. It really truly is the best of both worlds.
And that brings us to the final, most important question, the one that's just for you. When you look at your goals, your industry, your team, is this unique blend of protection, flexibility, and efficiency that an LLP offers, is that the right foundation for your venture?
Look, we've given you the framework today, but every business is completely unique. The smartest next step you can take is to talk to a professional, a CA, a legal expert, someone who can help you build the absolute strongest foundation for your specific dream. Thanks so much for joining me.